Since the beginning of Donald Trump's political career, he has demanded one thing above all else, and that is loyalty. And largely, Republicans fell in line, seeing it as the best way to avoid primary challenges and the physical harm that MAGA cultists will threaten them with if they break with Donald Trump. But now, there is something more dangerous in front of them, and that is being attached to the Epstein cover-up, not just because it is politically toxic, even for Republicans, but there are criminal implications, and it is why a coalition that would usually always bend the knee to Donald Trump is now at each other's throats. And it doesn't just stop in the White House or the House. There has now been crossover as Mike Johnson is allowing Pam Bondi to be thrown under the bus as her job seems to be slipping away from her. We are going to get into it all and how MAGA is once again in shambles. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into how Johnson has thrown Pam Bondi under the bus and the MAGA civil war that's erupting, we have to start with the latest Epstein update out there, which is newly released photos and videos from Epstein's private island, and it is the reason why the House is acting today.
Yeah, Anna, as you mentioned, this is a group of 14 photos and videos documenting different parts of what is said to be the Epstein estate on the Virgin Islands, on Epstein Island. There are some images of bedrooms. We see beds. We see some bathrooms, a bathtub, a sink in one case. There are some images of outside, some scene images. And in one, there is a sign that says no trespassing. You can see some of these images on the screen right now. I want to make very clear, Anna, this comes from a November 18th letter that Democrats, led by Congressman Robert Garcia, Democrats on the Oversight Committee, sent to the Attorney General of the U.S. Virgin Islands, requesting a bounty of information, documents, information from investigations, what have you, that the Virgin Islands may have had in its possession that has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, it's an important distinction because this is not in response to that bill that Congress passed last month to compel the DOJ to release the Epstein files. This has to do with that November 18th letter from the U.S. Virgin Islands. So again, here's a video of outside. You're seeing parts of these 14 images and documents. I'll read to you a little bit of what Robert Garcia said in his statement accompanying the release of this information. He said, quote, "These new images are a disturbing look into the world of Jeffrey Epstein and his island. We are releasing these photos and videos to ensure public transparency in our investigation and to help piece together a full picture of Epstein's horrific crimes. We won't stop fighting until we deliver justice for the survivors." And he finishes by saying it's time for President Trump to release all the files now. So again, this is just the latest drop of information and files from the Oversight Committee that has come since that the focus has been so intently on the Jeffrey Epstein investigation and the documents and information surrounding him.
So, Lisa, I know you've been looking through these as well. It's all just coming in. We're still loading up the latest images. What stands out to you as you're looking through these new files?
A couple of things stand out to me. So we've seen images of Jeffrey Epstein's Virgin Islands, and there were 2 islands actually before, but we've largely seen them through drone and through satellite from above, or at least from further distances away. This is really one of the first times we've had an opportunity to see up close some of the structures where some of the alleged abuse is said to have taken place. But Anna, one of the other things that stands out to me is one of the photographs released by House Oversight Democrats this morning is a phone that has several numbers or several people and their cell or home listed there. Among the people listed in that image, and where I see that we're showing it right now, are Richard and Darren. That is Richard Kahn and Darren Indike, the accountant and lawyer respectively, who are now the 2 co-executors of Jeffrey Epstein's estate.
The work that Robert Garcia has done as the ranking member on the Oversight Committee has been incredibly commendable. Without him and what he has done, we would not have the Epstein birthday book. We would not have had those tens of thousands of Epstein emails from Ghislaine Maxwell, emails referencing Donald Trump and his criminal connection to Epstein. And now, because of the pressure that has been put on the Epstein estate by the Oversight Committee, we now have these very disturbing photos and videos. But what they tell the story of is how this political pressure has continued to allow Democrats to bring new information to light. And as was mentioned at the end of that MSNBC analysis, it also shows the close connection that Epstein had to relevant actors who we could get testimony from. These people need to be subpoenaed, and those subpoenas are not going to be able to be blocked by Pam Bondi or Kash Patel or Donald Trump. There is nothing that they can do to stand in the way. It's why I continue to say that what isn't in the Epstein files, to me, might be a little bit more interesting. But that doesn't mean I'm not still interested in the Epstein files, because I am, and so are members of the House who are now pushing, like we've never seen before, I guess aside from that vote to release the files, to make sure Pam Bondi is falling in line. And Mike Johnson is just letting it happen. It might mean the end of her career. Lawmakers demand urgent briefing with Bondi over secret new Epstein intel. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are demanding an urgent sit-down with Attorney General Pam Bondi over new information related to Jeffrey Epstein. In a letter sent Wednesday, they gave Bondi until Friday to provide them with the new information that was cited as the impetus for fresh Epstein-related investigations, which could hinder the full release of the files. Republicans Thomas Massie and Lisa Murkowski joined Democrats Ro Khanna, Ray Lujan, and Jeff Merkley in calling on Bondi to back up her words from a November 19th press conference, according to NBC News. As the lawmakers note in the letter, Bondi at that time said new and additional information had emerged to warrant fresh investigations into figures connected to Epstein. In the interest of transparency and clarity on the steps required to faithfully implement the Epstein Files Transparency Act, we request a briefing either in a classified or unclassified setting to discuss the full contents of the new information in your possession at your convenience, but no later than Friday, December 5th, 2025. They argued that it was necessary to reveal any new information in order to ensure the smooth implementation of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which compels the Justice Department to publicly release all unclassified records, documents, and communications and investigate materials on the disgraced financier by December 19th. In light of the short 30-day deadline to release the Epstein files, we are particularly focused on understanding the contents of any new evidence, information, or procedural hurdles that could interfere with the department's ability to meet the statutory deadline, they wrote. They outlined in their message a shared interest in supporting the Department of Justice efforts to carry out the provisions of this critical new law. While the law stipulates that new intel must not be withheld for the sake of political sensitivity or due to a threat of embarrassment to prominent figures, concerns have been raised over the prospects of full disclosure amid reports of a special redaction project at the Justice Department. Internal correspondence obtained by Bloomberg last week reportedly lays out how FBI Director Kash Patel tasked around 1,000 special agents with overseeing redactions to the documents, which critics believe may contain embarrassing details of Donald Trump's own past relationship with a convicted pedophile. Amidst all of this, a pro-Trump outlet is reporting that Bondi and Patel are in purgatory and waiting to be fired. So Mike Johnson can no longer and will no longer stand in the way of a further release of Epstein-related information. And he has said, this is out of my hands. It is up to you, Pam Bondi. If Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie and other members of the House are going to press on the DOJ, Mike Johnson is not able to stand in the way, but I would also assume that he does not want to deal with this shit anymore, that he gave Donald Trump 60 days of delay when he refused to swear in Adelaide Grijalva. And now, by the way, Matt Van Epps, the guy in Tennessee who was elected last night, Mike Johnson wants him sworn in this week. So apparently you don't always have to delay for 55 days. It's only when people want to expose the pedophiles that the President of the United States is protecting, then we delay swearing in members of Congress. Just good to know going forward. But the Epstein scandal, it's no wonder Mike Johnson wants no part of it. It is ravaging Donald Trump's administration, and some of his closest allies, and formerly most public supporters, are turning on him.
Some voices with large audiences who are largely MAGA or MAGA curious, they see what's happening. They are facing the music even if Trump isn't. That includes the comedians, the podcasts, and even Fox vet Tucker.
And the Republican Party, which is almost to the point where it's just useless, and I'm going to have to oppose it because I hate them too much, but because they're such betrayers.
It certainly seems that he doesn't want these documents to come out because he himself will suffer some fallout.
Nothing I voted for happened. What about you? Are you happy with anything?
I mean, it sounds like a political wake. And because their audiences, especially Tucker, still include plenty of people who are conservative or Republican adjacent or MAGA, and labels can be simplistic, but you'll notice there's a tone there. They don't necessarily go directly at Trump and say, boy, he messed this all up. He had a good hand a year ago, and it seems like he blew it, spent the political capital quickly, and is still messed up on Epstein. They don't necessarily word it all that way, but that's not positive messaging, what you just heard, obviously, for Trump's Republican Party going into a midterms where Tucker's audience either is going to pull the lever for Republicans or hand the Congress over to Trump's opponents, the Democrats. Take another example, Michael Savage, conservative radio host. He was OG MAGA. He endorsed Trump early in 2016. In the first term, you could find him in the Oval Office. Here's Savage now.
I think the American worker right now is hurting badly. I think the economy is in the no matter what the Trump administration might want to be selling or telling us. The prices are too high, inflation is too high, jobs are not here for the people who worked for them, and they're being shafted primarily in the tech industry.
This is a level of scandal that has even MAGA turning against Donald Trump, something previously inconceivable, but it is not the only scandal that we need to be talking about, because right now we have another story of Republican incompetence and corruption, this time coming out of Nevada, as Governor Joe Lombardo was outed as failing to protect workers and letting Elon Musk, of all people, off the hook for chilling safety violations that left firefighters with chemical burns. A worker with a crushed pelvis, and another shocked by an electrical panel. Yeah, that sounds like Elon Musk to me. Last month, Nevada's OSHA branch found that Elon Musk's The Boring Company knowingly violated safety protocols in their tunnels beneath Las Vegas, but as soon as Musk's executive called Governor Lombardo's office, as soon as Elon gets his little buddy on the phone, the citations disappeared and Lombardo's team deleted records of meeting with The Boring Company. Not a shock. This is what Republicans do. They cover for each other's corruption. With a single phone call, a company owned by the richest person in the history of the world went literally dumping toxic waste around Las Vegas, got special treatment. Elon Musk with little kid gloves for him, little special treatment Elon, that no other regular worker or small business in Nevada would ever receive. And first of all, they shouldn't. And the governor, of course, didn't even bother coming up with an explanation. Joe Lombardo, the governor of Nevada, is clearly putting Elon Musk and the Boring Company over the lives of working people. Even experts across party lines say that Lombardo politicized OSHA and endangered the public. Nevadans deserve a governor who prioritizes safety, honesty, and accountability, not backdoor favors for wealthy donors like Elon Musk. All of this corruption must be exposed. We got to call it out. You need to be following this story because, of course, we need to be pointing out whenever Elon's trying to get involved for his benefit. But if you want to support us covering more stories like this, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.